Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Thanks for coming by the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama. Today I'm going to be doing a record review on an interesting album that once again I stumbled across on Amazon Music. And I keep doing this and it keeps costing me money, but I keep finding a lot of very good music, interesting music. And this album here is by a musician that I've never heard of. His name is Miguel Atwood-Ferguson. This is a 2023 record release, and it's really a very unique album. And I'm going to get into it, talk about it. And for those of you out there that are adventurous spirits, adventurous people that like to delve into some of the obscure type of jazz, classical, avant-garde, free jazz, ambient music, hip-hop, a smorgasbord of interesting music. I think you may like this album. This album here, to me, is something that you grow into. I haven't even listened to the whole thing yet. This is 3.5 hours worth of music, 4 LPs. And I ran across on Amazon, started listening to some of the tunes, and I was intrigued. And I was like, wow, this guy put together 3.5 hours worth of music on 4 records. I started doing a little bit more research, and this is only part 1 of 3 volumes. So by the time he's done, there'll be over 10 hours worth of music. I'm going to get into a little bit about who Miguel Atwood-Ferguson is, because I had no idea who this musician, multi-instrumentalist, arranger, composer, music director, producer, DJ, and educator. I have no idea who he was until I ran across this record, which is part of the fun of this channel for me, is discovering new music and sharing it with you guys. So stick with me on this. This is probably gonna be a little bit longer video than most, because somebody that put this kind of time, about 13 or 14 years into making this 4 LP set, which we are going to open. It's still sealed here. Has an OB strip. Somebody who's put this kind of time into making a 4 LP set, and to me, it deserves giving a little bit more attention to. So you have over 3.5 hours worth of music on here, 4 LPs. Comes in a gatefold sleeve with an OB strip that you see here. Artwork inside by, or the artwork of the album is by a guy named David Crunelle. Liner notes credit all the musicians involved, which are a lot. Oh, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. 52 tracks here. And you've got a lot of different musicians, like over 50 guest musicians on this album contributing to this. So vinyl is half speed cut by Miles Showell at Abbey Road Studios. This also includes MP3 downloads. It's also available as a 3 CD set. So I've got a lot to talk about, but we're going to do that in between listening to some of this music, which is very diverse. Before I open this up, let me just quote Downbeat, who wrote about this album when it came out. It says the following, quote, "Reconciling orchestral shades of Alice Coltrane, Gil Evans, Claude Debussy, and Charles Stepney with modern spiritual jazz meets 21st century soul and hip-hop of the West Coast Gets Down Collective. Many of the tunes blossom like sprawling vines in moss across verdant landscapes. Often melodies and rhythms intertwine in boundless configurations, even though Atwood-Ferguson plants cogent melodies inside them so that the kaleidoscopic compositions become both entrancing and memorable." I think that's a good description based on what I've heard so far, because some of the songs can be very ambient, very atmospheric, and then they can become very intense, very emotional, and a lot of varied rhythms, different things going on here. And again, I've not even begun to get through all 52 tracks here. So I'll be spending a little bit of time here playing these records for you. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Again, I'm kind of like a DJ sometimes on this channel, just sharing the music with you guys and maybe giving some food for thought as to whether or not this may be an album you want to add to your collection. Look at all these songs on here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and open this up. We're going to check it out. This goes for around 50 bucks on Amazon, over 14 years in the making. Let me go ahead and open it up and let's take a look at this. See what kind of pressing we've got here and all that good stuff. I appreciate you guys watching the channel. I appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel, giving the thumbs up, and participating in the channel by leaving your comments. Really, this is something that is just a lot of fun for me. As you guys know, I love music and I just love to share music with people. And at the same time, being a record collector since I was a kid, so it's just something fun for me to share with you guys. And I love hearing your feedback. You know, the other day I did a live stream with you guys and talked about some of my favorite audiophile records. And this goes to show you how I learn from you guys. You know, I was talking about how great the original Police Synchronicity album is. And someone had left a comment and said, yeah, go look, hold that record up to the light and look at it. And it'll be kind of like a transparent purple looking record, even though you can't really see it if you're not, unless you kind of hold it up to the light. So that's what I did. And I went, you know, immediately when I saw that comment, I went and held the record up to the light. And sure enough, you can kind of see through it. It was kind of like a real dark purplish looking, brownish looking vinyl. So just something, again, that I learned from you guys. You guys know a lot about the different types of pressings and all that good stuff. A lot of that stuff I don't know. You know, I'm more into the music and how things sound, and I really don't know as much about a lot of the different pressings and all that kind of stuff as a lot of you guys do out there. So I appreciate you guys coming and contributing your knowledge to the channel, because I learn a lot from you guys. So, all right, let's take a look at this album. There is an OV strip here. It looks like it's kind of attached here to the album cover jacket. This opens up into a gatefold. And I'm assuming there's going to be 2 records on each side of this gatefold here that are slid in. So again, a very reasonable price. I didn't expect real elaborate packaging for, I think it was $45. 4 record albums. They do come in poly sleeves, MP3 download sticker there. So they are in poly sleeves, paper with poly sleeve on the inside. The jacket is nice. It's very thick, you know, to hold the 4 records, 2 in each side. So not bad, but you know, I didn't expect for 45 bucks with 4 records to really have a huge elaborate packaging. There's all your tunes, 52 tunes. This whole album, for all 4 records, was composed, arranged, and produced by Miguel Atwood-Ferguson. Contributions from over 50 musicians. So let's go ahead and clean off the first record here, and we are going to listen. And again, this is one of those albums you have to sit down and listen to, pay attention to things that are going on. There's a lot of different things, a lot of recording, ingenious things that I think he did, you know, recording things and then playing them backwards in the mix and doing all kinds of. This is really someone who appreciates the recording mastery of the studio. I think that is something that you'll appreciate with this record, because I think that a lot of time was taken to actually put this record together. So let me go ahead and clean off the first record and let's have a listen. And if I recall, the first tune is a little bit laid back. But again, there's so much going on with this record that this is really a genreless record, in my opinion. It's just such a diverse body of work. Okay, so we got A and B. Okay, let me go ahead and clean this off. These do look like they're pretty clean. I don't see any debris or anything like that on the record. So that's nice. I still go ahead and spray it off with some distilled water. Give it a wipe down. Be playing it on the RT85 with the Ortofon Blue with Shitmoney preamp into my Yamaha HS8 speakers. I'm still hoping I can pick up a new preamp for this setup in here and kind of start upgrading things slowly. The Shitmoney is a nice preamp for the money, for 150 bucks, but I can certainly do with an upgrade. So I'm trying to determine maybe what would be worth getting for around the $400 or $500 mark. So if you guys have any suggestions, leave those in the comments, please. I would appreciate your feedback on that. All right, let's drop this on. And I'm going to listen to quite a bit of this record. I'm going to try to play something from all four of these records so that you have an idea of what this is. Again, you can listen to this on Amazon Music, so if I'm boring you, you can go listen to it on there. But let's go ahead and have a listen. Now I talk a little bit about Miguel Atwood-Ferguson, who is a Los Angeles-based multi-instrumentalist, musician, arranger, composer, music director, producer, DJ, orchestral conductor, and educator. He has contributed to over 600 recordings scored for television and film. Grew up in western Los Angeles. His father was a multi-instrumentalist who backed musicians such as Etta James, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, Johnny Otis, Ry Cooder. So I have got my beverage here in for the long haul. He grew up around classical music. Studied violin, chamber music, took music theory. Began composing for a symphonic orchestra with his first orchestral composition that he wrote at age 10. And it was actually performed by the Pacific Palisades Symphony. So again, a lot of this album, or some of this album, is very atmospheric, but it builds and there's a lot of things going on and it really takes you on a journey, in my opinion. Let's see how the actual sound quality is. So far the vinyl has been quiet, it's flat. At the age of 12, he started playing the viola. So far, it sounds pretty good, but wait until things get going here. Again, you have a lot of different things going on. The piano sounds really nice here. The drums does have pretty decent depth. Some nice sounding recordings so far. Wait until we hear some more bass and other things going on. So Miguel attended the University of Southern California in LA. He's performed with Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, Quincy Jones, Smokey Robinson, just to name a few. So he does a lot of different types of projects with a lot of different people, and this was his first release of his own music. And again, once he's done, there'll be over 10.5 hours worth of music, this being the first 3.5 of it. He also financed this on his own. So according to when I did some research on this album, he took his life savings of $120,000 to actually finance making this record, which, if I didn't say what the name of the record was, it's Les Jardins Mystiques. So that was the first track there, kind of laid back. You have a couple of quick interludes here before we go into a fairly long track. And again, this is something that, to me, deserves to be sat down and listened to. There's so many cool things going on here. So it's a pretty nice, fairly warm sounding album. I mean, I wouldn't say it's on par with all those, classic Blue Note, the OJC reissues, that kind of stuff. The sound of those, it's not quite up to what those are. But so far, for a modern recording, it sounds pretty good. And again, there's a lot of different sounds on here. You've got electronic, keyboards. A little bit of surface noise there. This is pressed by Brainfeeder Records, made in the EU. I'm going to look in the dead wax and see if I can see if it says where it's pressed at. So there's a lot of mixture, kind of classical sounding things, jazzy sounding things. Let me see if I can see in the... Just says Abbey Road, half speed. Room 30 or something, it looks like it says in the dead wax. BF 134. Go ahead and clean off record 2. So it intrigues me on why he didn't split this up into more albums, or why he decided to release it as one body of work. I'd like to find out more about his thoughts behind this project and the other 2 that are going to follow it. Because it seemed like he could have just done 4 separate records instead of doing all these as one set. And in one of the write-ups, he says that he's not expecting everybody to really get this album or understand the album, and people will listen to it different ways. But he said it was more of a healing experience for him to make this. So a lot of beautiful playing on this. A lot of talented musicians are on this record. And I think it's something that you have to sit down and really listen to. So there's been a little surface noise that you can probably hear here and there. Definitely just use these inner sleeves. So I'm gonna let this one tune here play for a little longer. Then I'm gonna do is bring it down, flip it over, play a little bit from the other side. Then I'll put on record 2, and I'm gonna go through all 4 records. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. This is gonna be a longer video than normal. So to me, I just want to just kind of give you guys a feel of what this album is about. And to me, someone that puts in all this time, this many years to give you a 4 record set, I just kind of feel obligated to give it some more time. So to me, it fascinates me how somebody can put together this amount of music in this high quality. It's not just, in my opinion, there's a lot of great playing on here, even if at times it can be a little ambient, a little atmospheric. But if you listen to the playing and listen to what's going on, very classically influenced, but also jazz mixed in. And you really have just a combination of different things going on here. Apparently, a lot of the tracks titles are drawn from different languages, so Spanish, Swahili, Japanese, Hebrew, Greek. So if you look at some of the tunes here, which I'll hold up here for you to take a look at, you'll see what I'm talking about. And on the inside, it has who played on each track and what instruments. So there's a lot of, I'll just kind of hold this up closer so you can kind of get an idea. depending on how you want to listen to this, how you want to digest this, you may want to consider getting the 3 CD set. Just depends on how you want to listen to this. If you want to listen to it longer chunks at a time versus flipping over your records. For me, I don't mind flipping over the records and listening to listening to one side then the other side. If you want to listen to have one longer listening experience, then maybe you want to pick up the CD set, which is 3 CDs. All right, so I'm gonna bring this down, flip over the record. You can see this has been kind of mellow thus far. It does pick up in different places. That's not really representative of what this entire set sounds like. So I'm gonna flip this over. Let's put on side B here. And it's not this quietest vinyl I've heard. It's I can hear a little bit of surface noise here and there. So far it's nothing terrible, but it is noticeable at points. I'm gonna try to find out where these are pressed at. Kind of a bit more of a jazz feel. I don't see anywhere that tells me where the pressing plan is. So if you guys know what BF in the dead wax is, let me know. Now you're really starting to feel some of that energy and start to hear more of the drums, the depth a little bit more here. Got kind of a live sound. I don't know if that was actually recorded live or not. Again, a lot of mixing work went into this. Studio work, I think, went into this. So I'd like to know how much of this was composed, how much of it was improvised, because apparently a lot of this was spontaneous in the moment playing as well. So maybe we'd be able to get him on the channel and talk to him a little bit about this record. I would love to be able to do that. This is just very intriguing, and I think it'd be a very good interview to talk to Miguel about this. Great piano playing there. The drums are fantastic. Yeah, it's a pretty nice sounding record. Just a mix. I'm digging it. I think it's a really, really cool listening experience. You know, it's just taking you on a journey. A lot of different things happening. I'm gonna let this tune play out, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put on the second record, side C. On this track, Miguel's playing the electric violin. So a lot of dynamics on this album. I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down and put on side C, which opens up with just him playing the acoustic violin and viola. And then it goes into another composition with the full band. So go ahead and put this back in the sleeve. Let's drop on side C. Again, the vinyl is decent. It's not the greatest pressings. It's nothing so far that I would send back, but it's not the most quiet either. All right, so the first minute and a half here is just going to be Miguel playing the acoustic violin and viola. And then it goes into, this is called Magnolia. Then goes into a tune called Choyoyo. If I'm pronouncing that right. So again, all music written, produced, and arranged by Miguel. Published by Warp Publishing. Mixed by Miguel Atwood-Ferguson and Benjamin Frederick Vukovic. Mixing engineer Benjamin Frederick Vukovic. Mastering engineer Frank Arkwright. Has to be cut at Abbey Road Studios. So again, you can hear just a little bit of surface noise, which is a little disappointing, especially when you have a lot of dynamics and softer passages. And by the way, I did get my replacement of my Ferret Oddman album, and I opened it up and played it, and this version sounds much quieter. The first version that I got was terrible. You go back and watch the video that I did on that. Colored vinyl. This replacement is not perfect. It's got a little noise here and there, but not terrible. Like the other pressing was horrible. So I did get a replacement for that. So I'm gonna go back and do a full review on this album. And I'll give you the full story on that. I also have more Venus records to review. Picked up a few more because I was very impressed with the ones that I've gotten so far. So Elusive Disc had some of these on sale, and I went ahead and picked them up. So I'll be reviewing these as well. I got a lot of stuff here to review. Also, if you're still here hanging out, I just finished this book. Fantastic book. Maybe I'll do a live stream and talk about some of the jazz books that I have that I recommend, so that I can talk a little bit about them. I'm a big reader, and so this book has been fantastic. A lot of great information and a pretty quick read. A lot of information in it, especially if you're a Miles Davis, Coltrane, Bill Evans fan. And anyway, I'll give you some more information on that, but I do recommend, if you're a reader and you like to learn about jazz, this is a really book worth picking up. So a lot of cool things going on here. Again, you know, more surface noise than what I would like. That's why it's so important, you know, where these records get pressed at, in my opinion. And it depends on the type of music, because if you have something like classical music or something like this, has these very quiet passages, any defect in the pressing, you're going to hear. And it, you know, in something like this, it ruins the experience. So this hasn't been terrible, but it hasn't been optimal either. And I'm going to listen to a good chunk of all 4 of these albums with you guys here. So I'll give you my overall assessment at the end here after listening to cuts off of all 4 records. So I'm in for the long haul on this one. I'm going to go ahead and pull out the other 2 albums. So you can hear just... And again, I clean these off the same. I listen to a lot of records on here. I know my turntable very well. And again, with the Ferret Oddman, it was so noisy that it was just unbearable. And it was not very quiet music either. Certainly not as dynamic as this record is. So, I mean, if it gets worse than this, I may end up sending it back and asking, you know, getting a replacement, because I got it off Amazon. So I hate doing that, but you know, if it's a bad pressing, it's a bad pressing. Half speed mastered, BF 134. So this will be sides E and F. I'm gonna go ahead and let this play a little longer. Flat record, but again, I'm gonna turn it up loud so you can hear what I'm talking about. Hear that? That surface noise there. So I may very well send this back and get another copy. We'll see what the rest of them sound like. And sometimes with these, especially if you've got 4 records, you know, if you have more than 1 record, a lot of times one of the records will be a bad pressing, the other ones will be fine. And you'll have to get the next replacement and then check them and see if they're all good, you know, when you have multiple records. And sometimes, you know, you'll have to pick the best out of the 2 copies that you have to get a good set. Unfortunately, sometimes that happens. So I always wait before I send the replacement, the bad one, back. If I get a replacement, I'll go through and check them all, and then if I have one good one on one and one good one on the other that I can make a good set out of, that's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is bring this down, and we're going to flip it over. We're going to side D now. Appreciate you guys hanging out. A lot of different cool percussive things going on. See, there you can hear it in between, the crackling. Chimes over here, back and forth. It's a very beautiful record. It's, you know, something like this you have to get pressed at a high quality pressing plant. And again, I don't know where this was pressed at, but I'm probably going to get a replacement for this just because I want to hear this music. You know, the care that went into making this music and all the time that went into listening to this and all the dynamics and all the things that are going on, that when the surface noise is louder than the music, you have a problem. And again, this being very dynamic, a lot of low volume passages and different things going on, that you really can't afford to have noise on the pressing. On a normal record, normal type of music, rock music, louder jazz music, country, R&B, any of that kind of stuff, you probably wouldn't have too much of an issue with it overall. But on this, point, there's no real advantage to having it on record. If you don't have a quiet pressing, you might as well have the CD, to be quite honest. everything is mixed nicely. You know, you got a lot of things going on here that you probably can't hear very well on the video. These things that are going on and the way it's mixed and the things happening that make it a very cool listening experience in my opinion. But having the noise on the record, even that little bit like that, does take away from it. So I'm definitely going to get a replacement on this and then see if I can't get a set that sound good. Again, I'm going to go through these other 2 records while we're here, at least playing a couple of more songs, and see what I have here. Because so far, these 2 first records are both noisier than what they should be for this kind of music, for sure. Textures and things going on, you know. In case you guys didn't notice, I got a new chair. I wanted something better to sit back and listen to music in. And so I wanted something that I can move around easy though. And so I ended up getting one of these gaming chairs. It's like $120 on Amazon and you can recline back. It's pretty cool. And I can go all the way back if I want. It's got a nice headrest. You can lock it into place. It's big enough where you can kind of sit up in it. And so I'm pretty happy with it. New listening chair. Gaming chair / listening chair. I don't play games anymore, but it makes a nice chair to kick back and listen to music in. That's easily, you can move around easy. I got this other record cleaned off. I think I'm going to bring it down and put on side E. So again, kind of a combination between classical and jazz, and you know, it has also some electronic sounds going on, and different things. So it's definitely an album that you got to sit down and listen to, and it's not something that you're going to put on and you've got this hit song that's going to, it's going to immediately grab you in type thing. It's something that, if you're into classical music, you'll probably get it. If you don't like classical music, it might be hard for you to kind of get into, because it kind of has a lot of classical elements to it. Again, you can hear some of the surface noise. So I'm going to send it back, or I'm going to request a replacement, and then I can go through and listen to those and see if I can get a better pressing, because these are just a little bit more noisy than what I would like to have with this kind of beautiful music and all these dynamics and different things going on that otherwise you might as well get it on CD, because you really need to have a quiet record. You have to. It's beautiful playing. I know this video is going on an hour now, so I warned you guys it's going to be a longer one. So if you're still hanging out with me, thank you. Even though I think there's probably not many that have that staying power for sitting here and watching me listening to this, but this is one of those albums for me that you put on when you just want to decompress. You're not expecting it, it's not one of these albums you put on expecting to hear something specific like you would if you were to put on another record, a jazz record, or John Coltrane or even some of the more well-known classical records. This here you put on and it just kind of takes you on a journey. There's a lot of unexpected things to listen to, and it's something that to me is something that you kind of take in, and you don't have any presuppositions coming to this music. You just let it speak to you. And like here, who would expect to go from that to this, right? This electronic sound now. So again, you can still hear the surface noise there enough to where it's aggravating. The records are flat, so there's no issue there. Not completely different vibe, right? Almost like a lo-fi electronic sound here. sounds almost like synth program beats or something going on there. I'd like to know if he arranged these tracks in a particular order for a reason. I think that would be interesting. And then kind of how they fall onto the records too is another. Interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and bring it down, flip it over, put on side F. I'm sure you guys are now getting a feel for, if you're still around, a feel for what this 4-volume set sounds like. I'm gonna put on side F and see what it sounds like. And this is more, I would say, more of an intellectual album, something where you really have to focus on, you know, you put yourself in the moment. Again, the surface noise. So far, the musical content I think is fantastic. It's very beautiful. A lot of things going on. It's going to take you a long time to become acquainted with this as a body of work. Certainly, it's going to take me a while to be able to absorb what's going on all 4 of these records. And it's something that I think is going to take time because it's not something that I'll listen to every day. It's going to be certain moods that I'm going to be in that I'm going to want to put this on and listen to them. And I'll probably, you know, do one record at a time, listen to them all the way through, listen to one. Next time I'm in the mood, I'll listen to the next record, and so on and so forth. So I think it's just going to be one of those type of albums that is going to be more of an experience over time than if normally you would, you know, have with other records. It's just so much here and so many diverse things going on. And if I'm gonna get a replacement from Amazon. Hopefully I get a good pressing with the next one. If not, I would definitely consider sending it back and just getting a 3 CD set. It's that important for it to be quiet, you know. And to me, if in this instance with this type of music, if you're gonna have that surface noise, you may as well have the CD so it's quiet and you can really hear what's going on, because there's so many cool things that are happening here in multiple layers, and the dynamics change and get very quiet and come back up and different things. And if you've got that little bit of surface noise, little clicks, just takes away from it. So unfortunately. Some cool synth things going on here. There's so many different instruments on here, you know, you look through here and we've got electric violins, violas, electric bass, keyboard, synthesizers, of course piano, Hammond organ, reverse recorded Hammond organs and flutes, alto flutes, drum sets, electric guitars, alto saxophone, harps on here, trombone, alto flute, bass flute, and a lot of different people, again over 50 different people playing on this. Kamasi Washington's on here playing tenor saxophone. So just a lot of different things going on, a lot of different players, a lot to take in, a lot to absorb. The sound quality overall is pretty good. Again, it's not on the level of these acoustic, analog recordings that we all hear on these reissues and things. It's not to that depth, that level of warmth or depth, but it is a nice sounding recording as far as the recording itself. For me, I like having the 4 records. It just puts it into digestible pieces, you know. So you've got 3.5 hours worth of music. You can listen to 20 some odd minutes at a time per side. Maybe listen to one album, come back the next day, listen to the next album. I wouldn't even consider this to be an album in the traditional sense of what an album is. I mean, just because it's such a large body of work. I mean, yeah, it's an album in the sense you've got, you know, all this, you know, records in one set type of thing. But as far as, you know, you usually get albums that are 3.5 hours long. So, and if you have 3 of these sets when he's done, you're gonna have over 10 hours worth of music, which is pretty impressive. Of course, it's taken him many years to put all this music together, so it's pretty impressive. I'm impressed by the level of all the work that it took to make this. Is just coming from my perspective of knowing a bit about recording, having recorded my own material, having done live recordings, jazz recordings and stuff, and I know how much work that it takes to do recordings and how much work goes into the mixing and the mastering and all that stuff. It's a lot of work, and let alone writing all the music, composing it all, and then having all these different musicians contribute to your compositions over all this time. It's a pretty impressive piece of work. So I definitely would recommend you checking it out. Despite the problem with the bit of a noisy pressing that I think is just a little more than what it is tolerable with this kind of music, the actual music itself I think is phenomenal. And again, it's something that you have to sit back and absorb and let it take you where it's leading you, not putting what you think should happen, what you expect to happen, putting all that aside and letting the music just speak to you and take you on the journey. So I'm gonna drop on the last record. Since we're over an hour and 13 minutes now, I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down, put on the next record, the last record, so I can at least have an assessment of all four, how they sound. So far, they're all about equally noisy. So they all have about an equal amount of surface noise. So this one was probably so far maybe the least noisy. That's record 3, so I'll keep track of these. And then we'll put on this 4th record now. Side G, and then H. So let's check this tune out. If you can call them, they're really compositions, these, you know. A little bit more of a jazzy feel here. Called Dream Dance. Really nice bass sound there. I mean, drums sound really nice here. Here I'm not noticing as much of the surface noise because you have a little bit more volume and a little bit more things going on here. It's got a really nice round full bass here. It sounds really nice. time I've heard this dynamic on the record so far, on this set. Probably the most jazziest tune I've heard so far. That's fantastic. I'm digging it. So I appreciate you guys joining me. I'm going to let this tune play a little longer, then I'm going to flip it over and listen to something off the final side. I will be sending this off. I'll be requesting a replacement. See if I can get a quieter pressing. It's kind of like a live jazz sounding performance. Even though I don't think it's live, I think it's probably mixed that way, but I could be wrong. I'll find out, hopefully. Can find out a little bit more about this, so we'll see. I'm gonna definitely reach out to Miguel and see if I can't get him on the channel to interview him about the record and talk about it. So I'm definitely gonna try. You never know with these musicians. A lot of them are open to doing interviews, and some of them aren't. So this is really cool. A little bit of Latin sounding influence here. Percussion sounds really nice. surface noise. When you have this, you know, it's not noticeable at all. Again, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. A lot of reviews coming up. I got a stack of records here. A lot of them that are not even opened that I'm going to be opening up and reviewing. Some of them that I bought over the last year that have been opened, but I haven't done reviews on yet. A lot of jazz records, a lot of different things coming up. Some surprises, some obscure things, some stuff that you guys will know. And then again, the Atlantic 75ths are coming around the bend again. Those are, I think, are going to be out next week. So 3 more of those are going to be coming. I'll be doing reviews of those. So a lot to keep me busy here. And I appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. I've built up now quite a bit of a collection of record reviews for you guys to go back and check out and see if any of those records may be of interest to you. More interviews coming up. Next week I have another one that I'm going to be doing, and I'll be letting you know more about that. And I'll probably do a live stream on jazz books. I got a big collection of music books, but I think it would be fun to do maybe a live stream and talk about jazz music in general and some of the books that I've read that I think are worth reading. So I think that'll be maybe a fun video for some of you guys. Awesome composition there. So I'm going to bring this down, flip it over. That's probably the most jazzy, you know, out of everything we've heard so far, and I haven't listened to everything on these records. I've only been playing like the first song or two off of each of these. So a lot to delve into here. That's so far out of what we've heard is the most jazzy sounding track. This is the final side. It's like a lot of short tracks here on this last side if you look at the track lengths. So I will keep you guys updated on this. I will order a replacement on this to see if I can get a quieter pressing. I'll let you know on another video. I'll give you a recap on this, and then if I fail in getting a good quiet pressing, what I'll do is I'll send it back and I'll get the CD set, because this is something that you have to have quiet. You can't have, you know, any surface noise on the record. It just, you know, ruins the experience. And there's so many beautiful things going on here. You can hear how beautiful that is. And then you get these little click, click, clicks, little. And again, I know it's not my stylus or any of that stuff, because I can put on another record and they sound perfect. So. I appreciate you guys joining me. A lot of work, a lot of music here to take in. Go check it out. Have a listen. Go on Amazon Streaming or Spotify or wherever you can find it. Have a listen. See if it's your cup of tea. Give it a chance. Keep in mind what kind of record this is and what kind of body of work this is. And if you're into classical music, I think that's going to make it more accessible to you. There's jazz elements. There's world music elements, electronic, a lot of different things going on here. And it's going to take your attention to sit down and listen to it and not come to this music with any preconceived ideas. Let the music speak for itself and sit back and just absorb it. And it's going to take, you know, several listens, I think, to really fully appreciate this music. So I appreciate you guys joining me, and we are at an hour and a half now, which is probably one of my longest videos, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Happy listening to all you guys out there. Stay tuned. A lot more reviews coming up. Talk to you later.